Here's an interesting story that I wanted to share. This guy came to me about a week ago. He's 73 years old. Never taken a golf lesson before. First time student. I wanted to show you some of the things that we had worked on. He came back 4 days later. The picture on the left is the original video that was taken 4 days before the video on the right. He had been practicing a lot, and he wanted to come back pretty quickly because he had practiced so much and wanted to check it out. So in his original video, you can see when he does his start down, when he first starts moving in the start down, you can see the club head actually move out. So the club moves out away from his body. He starts increasing this angle in between his left arm and the club shaft. So when his forearm gets parallel to the ground, there's a considerable angle there between the forearm and the shaft. Very obtuse when you see him in this video on the right. See him get his forearm down here to about parallel to the ground, which is about right there. And now we've got almost a 90-degree angle between the shaft and the arm. So we did a number of things, talked about the release interval and how it worked, and tried to move his release point later. But you can see here that his left wrist gets down by his waist, and it's almost completely uncocked. It's level now, and it's in the process of uncocking. So it uncocks and rolls kind of early, and then you'll see by the time he gets to the golf ball, he looks a little different than he does on the right side of the screen. When he comes down still with some wrist cock, you can see that there's still an angle there as he approaches the golf ball. Now it starts uncocking later, and then it starts rolling. So pretty amazing in this one position here. If I draw a line up the shaft, and then I draw a line up this shaft. For a 73-year-old man to be able to change this much in 4 days, I thought that was pretty fantastic. And you can see that it was a full swing. So he goes past impact. You can see that the right hand is just completely flattening out and the club head passing. And you can see here that he maintained that forward lean through impact. Club's coming in more of a straight line with his left arm now, post impact. And you can see the club face rolling as it goes through. So let's go to the down the line view. So from the top, I found this to be equally as amazing. When he got up to the top, you can see here that his hands would almost immediately move out away from the line, and the club shaft would just get really steep. As he comes down, you can see that the club head is going to move even outside his forehead. So you'll see the club way outside the plane. Just no chance of hitting the plane line. And again, this was only 4 days later. He comes back in a totally different left arm position, hand position. And when he comes down, you can see the hands moving down the plane line. And watch the club head. The club head now is trying to seek the plane line. So instead of coming out in front of his forehead, it comes down through his shoulder. So when he told me he had picked up this much yardage, 20 to 30 yards on every golf club, I mean, it was understandable when I saw the club coming down plane like this. But this poor guy on the left, there was just no way he was going to hit the golf ball. I mean, not with any force. He was coming down with it a foot outside the plane, and then he just had to try to pull it back towards him. Try to hit the plane line at the last moment with a club face that remained open. The club head exiting underneath the line. He was hitting really steep divots too. You can tell here just because of the steepness of the angle of attack. The club was coming down so steeply he was just stabbing it into the ground most of the time. But you can see with this club head coming down, sweet spot touching the golf ball. And then the toe of the club closing as it goes up plane. You can see that the club head's still on plane even post impact. So pretty amazing stuff for a guy that's 73 years old and taking his first golf lesson and practice for 4 days with proper information. It's pretty amazing what can happen.